Hi, my name is Magnus Jensen. This is my screencast for my exam as a multimedia designer at Kia Copenhagen. And I'm gonna explain a little bit more about the code behind what we call the YellowBox. And the YellowBox this is our website, and we go into the tutorial. The YellowBox is this tooltip box that pops up in and out, showing different tips for how to get through the actual web page. The code behind the box, in the overall, we have the component hierarchy, and the component itself is called YellowBox as well. And as you can see, it's called multiple times here and in different levels. So that's one thing to note. The other thing is that, as you can see here in our component flowchart called graph, like the YellowBox, there's multiple places. All these yellow lines are the one that actually calls the YellowBox, and the YellowBox is one of the primary event listeners as well. So it means that at the YellowBox you will be able to go to the next step. So how we made that I will show you now in the code. And we go into the code, and we have the YellowBox here on the right side, and on the left side we have the left column component, and it's just one of the components that calls the YellowBox. And first of all, to understand it, like if we look at the code at the YellowBox on the right here, the top here is just some green sock we added, but down here, first of all, this is the structure of the actual box. The design of it is in our CSS file. What we do first of all is we have something called dangerously set HTML. Inner HTML. That means, if you notice here to the left, down here at sports screen, there's actually a span element inside the actual text that will become into the element into the box. But to send actual inner HTML is not recommended in using React, so you have to like override the default behavior by using this attribute called dangerously set in HTML, which allows us to make those highlighted areas in the text of the YellowBox. In the YellowBox there's a next button as well. It's called in Danish næste, and the next button, when you click that, you can see here it will call the method up here called continue, and that method will first of all prevent default, so the window doesn't refresh, and then it will call another method that is sent down through props, which is inside site, that will then change the step and increment the step by 1, so we change the next step in our tutorial. The next step button, as you can see here, is only shown if the step of the tutorial is equal to 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10 or 12, because that's sometimes in our tutorial where we don't want the next step button to show, because we want the user to actually click on a specific element or type some stuff in an input field to continue. This component, for example, called game list, you will see down here there is a render called YBox. YBox refers to the variable up here that is set depending on the step. So what happens here is that the content of the YellowBox is actually set in the component that calls the YellowBox, and then we set the content, and we pass as props into the YellowBox the object, which in turns, so we can change the different information that should be displayed. And that's what I have about explaining the YellowBox. And of course, if you have more questions, I will explain them in the oral exam. Thank you.